Journalists squeezed for space against the railing. The mixed zone at the huge Kyle Field suddenly became small after the warning. "Do you want it? I'll bring it here," said Roger Gopaver, CBF Communications Coordinator. He was Endrick. The 17-year-old boy had just been mentioned in the same sentence as Pelé in a room a few meters away. He had repeated the King's feat by scoring goals in 3 consecutive games for the national team before coming of age. Endrick, of course, already knew everything, the fact, the sentence, and who would be asked about it, and he wanted to go to the microphones, but not to smile and boast, to be firm and mature as he has demonstrated for years. A boy who was never called Boy Endrick. "You guys are crazy," Endrick said in that interview. Pelé is Pelé. Once again, what could have become a controversy did not take root. Once again, the teenager with a shirt tucked into his shorts and a turtleneck demonstrated all his sobriety. The anti-Neymar more than a decade ago, another young talent appeared in the same team in which Pelé played, and winning a title for that club that only the King had achieved. But Neymar's high goal at Santos had other motivations. At Endrick's age, Boy Ney went everywhere with his toys, fought with coaches, or made statements that created controversy. Comparisons with Peel, they came up, of course, and Neymar answered questions with a satisfied smile on his face, talking about the joy of achieving the King's achievements. Endrick even likes to attract attention with his clothes and style, but compared to Neymar, he is completely low profile. He doesn't go to parties and date, for example. The term anti-Neymar is not something used by the staff, and there is no guidance for the player in this sense, which further reinforces the way the center forward has behaved on his own since he was young, as opposed to what Menino Ney did. Cradle vintage, anyone who thinks that Endrick is an assembled character is mistaken. People close to the boy, they guarantee that the vintage style is the result of their personal preferences and research into the past. The quote to Bobby Charlton after Brazil's victory against England, for example, came from him, as well as the looks to present himself in the national team that looked like they came out of a magazine from the 70s. The sobriety contrasts with the extravagance of the looks of others' aces. He doesn't have a stylist, and none of our staff has ever evaluated or discussed with him what he should wear for any appearance. The references to the past are probably the result of the research he regularly does through videos of athletes who made history in major tournaments, which means he comes into contact with the aesthetic references from past decades on a regular basis, something unusual among young people who are emerging today in football, but that is not strange in other segments. Vintage has never been so contemporary. Fido Freighters, COO of Rock Nation, to you all the proof of Endrick's spontaneity may be his biggest mistake of the celebration, as combat didn't go down well. This, like the others, were surprises to the staff, who spoke to him after the episode. And in conversations, Endrick demonstrates even more maturity by accepting advice and listening carefully to the reasons, but there everyone knows that the final decision is his. An example of this was a trip to Europe on Palmeiras president Leila Pereira's jet, when Endrick even took the opportunity to receive investment tips from the president. What else to concern at the moment is the exposure of personal life in terms of relationships. As Gabrielle Miranda, his girlfriend, is an influencer, exposure is inevitable. But staff discourages much personal exposure. Even the interview with journalist Pedro Bial became a case for internal evaluation.